You go to the doctor, you say something's wrong, and he tells you it's probably just stress. For almost 4,000 years, that sentence was a diagnosis, a real one. Doctors had a name for it, and the name came from one place, your womb. They believed it could actually move, travel around inside you, like it had somewhere better to be. And wherever it landed, that's what made you sick. Anxious? Womb's near your chest. Can't sleep? It's pressing on something. Angry at your husband? That's not an opinion. That's a medical condition. And doctors treated it that way for longer than most countries have even existed. So how does a body part become an excuse to control an entire gender for 4,000 years? Let's start at the beginning. Go back to Egypt, almost 1,900 years before Christ. Doctors are writing on papyrus, and they're already blaming women's symptoms on the womb wandering around inside the body. This isn't folklore we're guessing at. It's written down, the Kahun Papyrus, one of the oldest medical documents that still exists, and it's already doing this. The Greeks picked it up next, and they're the ones who really ran with it. Hippocrates and Plato didn't just say the womb moved. They said it acted like a hungry little animal, wandering around your body looking for something. And what did it want? A baby. If you weren't pregnant, the theory went, your womb got restless, went looking, and whatever it bumped into on the way caused your symptoms. That's it. That's the whole science. And here's the word for it, hysteria. It comes straight from the Greek word for womb, hystera, same root as hysterectomy. The disease was named after the body part they blamed, not after anything that was actually happening to you. Fast forward 1,000 years, and doctors are still using this exact framework. Galen builds on it, medieval physicians build on Galen. Nobody questions the wandering womb, because questioning it would mean questioning every doctor before them, going back centuries. But here's where it gets darker, because in the medieval and Renaissance world, being a woman with unexplained symptoms didn't just get you a bad diagnosis. Sometimes it got you accused of witchcraft. In 1603, an English doctor named Edward Jordan actually wrote an entire pamphlet arguing that a woman on trial for witchcraft wasn't possessed, she was just hysterical. He was trying to save her life by giving her a medical label instead of a supernatural one. Sit with that. Being labeled mentally ill was the merciful option. Your body wasn't yours. It was a case file, and any doctor, any man could open it. Now, here's a twist a lot of people get wrong, and we almost got wrong writing this. You've probably heard the story that the vibrator was invented by Victorian doctors, tired of literally massaging women to orgasm by hand as a cure for hysteria. It's everywhere. There's a movie about it. It's a great story. It's also not true. In 2018, 2 historians actually went back and checked every single source used in the book that started this myth, and they found nothing. No records, no case files, no evidence any of it happened. The real inventor, Joseph Mortimer Granville, built his device to treat muscle pain, mostly in men, and he specifically said it shouldn't be used on hysterical women. We spent decades believing a myth about how ridiculous this diagnosis was, when the real history was quieter and honestly worse.
Because the real cure, the one that actually happened, wasn't a machine. It was called the rest cure. And if you were diagnosed with hysteria in the 1800s, here's what really waited for you. Weeks of forced bed rest. No reading, no writing, no visitors, no thinking too hard. Because thinking too hard was apparently part of the problem. One woman who went through this treatment was a writer named Charlotte Perkins Gilman. She survived it, and then she wrote about it. A story about a woman locked in a room, slowly losing her mind from doing absolutely nothing. It's called the yellow wallpaper. It's still taught in schools today. It came from a real prescription given to a real woman for the crime of having feelings a doctor couldn't explain. We haven't even gotten to the part that should really make you angry, because we like to think this ended, that hysteria was some embarrassing thing doctors used to believe, and now medicine is better. and now it's fair. Here's the problem with that. In 2024, researchers published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences that looked at how emergency rooms actually treat pain. Women waited a full 30 minutes longer than men to be seen. They were less likely to get pain medication for the exact same complaint. And it didn't matter if the doctor treating them was a man or a woman, the gap was still there. Women with endometriosis, a condition that can be excruciating, wait an average of 7 to 10 years for a correct diagnosis. 7 to 10 years of being told it's probably just stress.
We stopped calling it hysteria. We didn't stop doing it. Next time a doctor tells you it's probably nothing, or it's probably just anxiety, or you're probably overreacting, ask yourself how much has actually changed since someone decided your pain came from an organ they thought could wander wherever it wanted. Maybe it was never wandering. Maybe nobody was ever really looking.